What's good, y'all? Welcome to the third workout of this beginner strength training series. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time talking about what this program is about. I've done that in the first two videos, so I would suggest checking those out if you'd like to know a little bit more about what this program is based about. But quick overview on what it is. This is a strength training program. If you're looking to work out and get stronger, but also being able to move better, so not just working out, lifting heavy, getting bigger, and then being this big, gigantic block that walks like a refrigerator, but to actually have the strength and the ability to move your body more freely, then this is where you want to be. Today's workout, we're going to be focusing on our foundational movement pattern, pushing patterns, so chest, triceps, shoulders, all of our push muscles. To start it off, we've got our warm-up, which is also going to consist of 3 exercises, just like with the previous workouts. So we've got our 3 exercises for our warm-up, and then our strength training portion after that. For the warm-up, we're going to be doing tempo push-ups. This is going to specifically warm up those pushing muscles, so getting our chest, our shoulders, and our triceps more warmed up, get the blood flowing, and start taking them through that range of motion. Followed by core work, which is also going to warm up our chest, shoulders, triceps, but more specifically working our core. Anti-rotation is the focus of these core workouts with shoulder taps today. So our ability to brace through our obliques and our abs to be able to resist any rotation and being able to brace through our core. And then our last exercise of the circuit is going to be balanced YTAs. The balance portion, obviously working that foot strength and joint stability and proprioception, so building our mind map of our body's awareness and positioning in space. The YTA portion is going to also help with rounding out the warm-up and getting our shoulders warmed up, so working all 3 of those delt heads, so our front, medial, and posterior delts, or anterior, lateral, posterior, however you want to call them, front, lateral, rear, those ones. So that way we'll have our shoulders fully taken through full range of motion, warmed up, ready to go, and that'll be the warm-up, and then we move on to strength training. So let's get to things. We're going to be starting with push-ups. For this exercise, it's going to be tempo, so we're going to be going 4 seconds lowering down with a 2-second pause at the bottom and then a 1-second push. Before we get into it, I want to talk a little bit about our arm positioning. You don't want your elbows all the way flared out up here. That's going to put a lot of pressure on your shoulders, but you also don't want them fully tucked underneath you, because then you're mostly just going to be using triceps. So somewhere in between, doesn't necessarily have to be a perfect 45-degree, angle, but you do want your shoulders or your elbows tucked in somewhere in between the 2 endpoints. That's going to be very subjective, so figure out what's comfortable for you and then build from there. Hands are going to be directly underneath our shoulders. Hands are going to be about shoulder width apart. Feet about hip width apart. In this high plank position, you want to have your glutes engaged, abs braced. Hands are going to be completely flat. Press your whole palm flat to the ground. And then from here, we're just breaking from the elbows. 4 seconds on the way down. 2-second pause at the bottom. And then pushing your hands through the ground. 2 pause. Boom. So that way you're here. So notice my elbows are coming out at the side, so they're not all the way flared out like this. I don't have them fully tucked in. I've got them out. Keeping that engagement with your abs, your glutes. So 4 seconds on the way down. 2-second pause, and then hands pushing through the ground. If this tempo is too difficult, one thing that you can do from here in this high plank position, all you're gonna do is just bend your knees so they drop down, keeping that engagement with your glutes, abs, and everything else stays the same. So we go 4 seconds down, 2-second pause, and then pushing through. So this would be a modification of the tempo push-up as a way to build up and be able to do the tempo and build your way up to the tempo. If doing tempo push-ups this way is too difficult for you, you have an option of being able to do that modified version, which is going to be a way that you can start and build up to doing a full tempo push-up without having your knees on the ground. So those are 2 options for you to do. Right after that, we're gonna go into shoulder taps. Same setup, exact same setup. Hands shoulder width apart, palms flat to the ground, feet about hip width apart, abs and glutes engaging, and then all we're gonna do is tap opposite hand or hand to your opposite shoulder, keeping your abs and everything engaging. You don't want to have any rotation in your hips, so none of this going on or hips dropping or hips coming up. Just try to keep everything as flat and level as you can, keeping that engagement through your core. So glutes, abs, obliques, everything is braced. Moving on to our balance exercise, we're gonna do YTAs. We need 2 dumbbells for this exercise. Just like with all the balance exercises, we're gonna set up with that foot lined up, so second and third toes lined up with the middle of the knee. We're going to make that arch with our foot, so think of when you're grabbing down with your foot, toes, making that arch with your foot. So you're locked in and secured. From here, engaging our quads and glutes. Nice brace through the core. Balancing on one leg. From here, we're going in an arcing motion coming up for the Y as high as you can, trying to keep those ribs down. So when you come up, don't let your chest flare up like that. Use your abs to keep everything down. Have all the movement happen from the shoulder. So here, 2-second pause at the top. We're coming back down and then arcing back, coming parallel to the shoulders. 2-second pause here and then opening back. 2-second pause as well, working to keep that engagement in your leg the whole time. And returning back to center each time. So with the Y, out, T, A. Then going right into the opposite leg. So switching again, lining up second and third toes, midline of the knee, arch with the foot, grab down with the leg. Once you finished your YTAs, we're gonna take our break. So a 1 to 2 minute rest, going back up to the top. So another set back to back to back of the push-ups, the shoulder taps, and then the YTAs, and then we move on to the strength training. Once the warm-up's complete, it's time to move on to the strength training portion of the workout. For today's workout, we're going to be doing all 3 of these exercises are going to be tempo exercises. So that same 4-2-1 tempo that we did with the push-up. We're going to be doing dumbbell bench, followed by incline flies, and then finishing out with a tricep extension. For the dumbbell bench, we need 2 dumbbells and a flat bench or an adjustable bench. Same setup as the push-up with our arm positioning. When we're coming down with the dumbbells, we don't want to have our elbows fully flared out here or tucked in. So find that middle ground, wherever the chicken wing thing looks like. And that way, when you're pressing, you're here. So elbows aren't flared out, putting that pressure on the shoulders, or fully tucked in to where we're really only getting triceps. So find that middle ground. The tempo on this one is gonna go 4 seconds down, 2-second pause, and then pressing up. Grab your dumbbells. Feet are gonna be a little bit spread apart. Toes can be slightly pointed out. You wanna have a wide base with your legs, so that way when you push, you can drive with your legs. It's gonna be subjective, find what feels comfortable. Good tip though, is to make sure that your shins are like vertical when you're doing it, so that way you can be in a good position. If your feet are too far out, you're not gonna have a good base. If they're too far back, could work, but it'll also arch your back a lot more, so it puts more pressure on the back. So find a nice like vertical shin placement. All right, so down. Get set with your feet, so 4 seconds lowering down. 2-second pause at the bottom. And then driving with those legs, pushing those feet through the ground. Squeezing with your chest to drive the weight back up. So 4 seconds lowering down. Good stretch in the chest, 2-second pause. Pushing up, squeeze with your chest. Think of starting the movement, starting the exercise by squeezing with your chest as you drive up and push those hands and dumbbells back up. Do our set of 8, take your break. So after each set for the strength training portion, we're gonna take about a 1 to 2 minute break, focusing on your breathing. Trying to bring all of the breath in and out of your nose, so that way you can get all the benefits of nasal breathing, increasing nitric oxide, so getting that vasodilation with your blood vessels, so opening those blood vessels up, so that way you can get more oxygen, more nutrients to these muscles, along with being able to flush out that metabolic waste. So 1 to 2 minute break. We're gonna knock out 2 more sets of this and then move on to incline flies. After knocking out our 3 sets of dumbbell bench press, we move on to incline flies. For this exercise, we need an adjustable bench or an inclined bench somewhere set up like a 45-degree angle, so not completely flat, not fully vertical. Find like a 45-degree angle up. 2 dumbbells, we're gonna go same thing, 4-2-1 tempo. So 4 seconds opening out, 2-second pause at the bottom, and then squeezing through with our chest to bring our arms back in. So make sure you're adjusted, make sure your bench is adjusted to where it needs to be. Grab your 2 dumbbells, and then, so weights are gonna start hands, dumbbells over your chest, straight line coming up. We're gonna open out. You can have a slight bend in your elbows, 4 seconds down till you get a good stretch in your chest. 2-second pause. And then squeezing your chest as you come back up. So, nice and controlled lowering down. Good stretch in the chest, pause at the bottom. Then trying to start the movement by squeezing from your chest. That's how you're gonna get that mind-muscle connection with the muscle, your brain and your chesticles. Once you knock out your set there, same thing, just like with the bench press, take your rest, 1 to 2 minutes, depending on how tired you are and the amount of weight that you're using. So if you're going a little lighter or if you're more fatigued from the bench pressing, adjust your rest period. The big key with your rest periods is focusing on your breathing. The better you can get your body under control, so your heart rate, your blood flow, your breathing, the faster your body is going to be able to recover and drop down to like a lower baseline level from the set. The better you can recover, the faster you can recover, the faster you can get back to the work. Now that we've finished 3 sets on our dumbbell flies, the last exercise of this workout is going to be tricep extension, which we're going to head over to the cable machine for that one. The last exercise in this beginner strength training workout for our push day patterns, we are going to be doing cable tricep extension. So we need a cable machine, rope attachments, pulley is going to be set to the highest setting that it can go. If you have 2 ropes available, I would recommend or suggest using 2 of them because you can get a fuller range of motion. Means your triceps are going to get more work, versus with just 1 single short rope, you can't get as much range of motion, which limits the efficiency of the exercise, unless you have one of those absurdly stupid long ropes that some gyms have that are like freaking 1,000 feet long. But if it's a standard rope that you find at most gyms, then use 2 of them because just 1 of them is going to be super short. So as you can see, can't get as much range, versus from out here, I can get that full extension. Okay, same thing, 4-2-1 tempo. It's gonna be a little different though. So we're gonna do a quick pull down, fire the triceps, 2-second hold, 4 seconds up. And you want to have your elbows glued in at your sides from here. So out, 2 pause, 4 seconds on the way up, just bending from the elbows, coming up as high as you can, full stretch in the triceps, down, 2 pause, 4 on the way up. So notice how much more range of motion I can get compared to just the individual rope. So quick, strong pull down, keep the triceps fired, 2-second pause, elbows tucked in at the sides, 4 seconds on the way up, coming up as high as you can so you can get that full stretch in the triceps. You can have a slight forward lean in your torso, your body, so feet, you know, slightly apart, little slight forward lean, and then the pull down. So yeah, so check this out. So if I use just 1, this is gonna be like your standard rope that you'll find at most gyms. You'll notice when I'm here and I'm glued in, this is all the extension that I can get from this with just one. So when we go with two, much better range of motion. That means your triceps are gonna be on fire even more. So with this, because it's just our triceps, it's not like a big compound lift like the bench press that we were doing. You could take a little shorter of a rest period just because it's a smaller muscle, it's gonna recover a little bit faster. Or depending on how hard you worked on the other ones, your triceps might be completely fried, and then you can take the full 2-minute break. But if you don't need to, then take as much rest period as you need. Again, remember, focus on breathing through your nose. Don't be a mouth breather. Knock out these last couple sets, and then that'll be a wrap. And then you can stay tuned for the outro things where we talk about a little bit of what's coming next. All right, now that cable tricep extensions are knocked out, they're done. That's gonna wrap up today's workout. As you can see, good pressing, gets you a good little pump in the chest, good little thing in shoulders, triceps from tricep extensions. So looks like the workouts work a little bit. That's gonna wrap it up. What we have coming up in the back half of this beginner strength training series, we've got a lunge day, hinge patterns, and then a more shoulder focused where we're using more vertical pressing. So today's workout was more horizontal pushing, so push-ups, bench press, or flies, and then the vertical pushing pattern is gonna be more of shoulder head or overhead pressing type exercises. So those are some of the things that we got coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Stay tuned, and I will see y'all on the next workout. Deuces.